Every day, shocking acts are caught on camera.
Stop it! Why are you naked?
But these lawless individuals leave nothing to the imagination.
This dude is butt naked.
He's naked. He ain't got no pants on.
On this episode, Disrobed and Disorder in the Streets.
That was intense. Like, what can I do in this moment?
A burglar gets personal.
He's sending a message that I pose a threat.
A small town's safety in jeopardy.
If somebody's prowling around my residence when they're naked like that, that's very disturbing to me.
And a suspect gets volatile with police.
Clearly, the driver is not in the right state of mind.
Oscar Diaz and his cousin are working late to finish a job in the lobby of a Midtown Miami apartment complex.
It was about 9 p.m. on a Tuesday night, and all of a sudden, a guy who lives in the apartment building runs in, and he's like, call the cops, call the cops. There's a naked man beating people up.
The lobby receptionist calls 911 while Oscar rushes outside to record what's going on.
Away from me!
Oh my God, it's really a naked man walking down the street.
What we see initially in Oscar's recording is a naked assailant punching and kicking a homeless gentleman.
He's just trying to grab the homeless guy, and the other guy's like, leave him alone, leave him alone.
Hey, stop! No!
And he tries to help him a little bit. And at that point, they started getting closer, so I went behind a car, and I just kept filming behind the car, like to get out of the way.
Oscar didn't know it at the time, but the man's naked, combative tirade started a few minutes earlier at a nearby gym.
It seemed like it was just a normal night at the gym. Out of nowhere, one of the gym members starts peeling off his clothes in the middle of one of the classes and then walks out onto the gym floor.
Whose man is this?
It doesn't go unnoticed. People are starting to have reactions to this nude person in the gym. Some are averting their eyes. The phones are coming out for some people.
It's not a laughing matter when the man not only gets naked, but turns violent.
When confronted, the nude man, it's almost like he's reverting back to being in boxing class. He takes a fighting stance and looks like he wants to box him.
I mean, this guy is violent. He's got fists flying. He's going crazy.
Several gym employees descend on the nude assailant and eventually get him under control.
The fact that it took several fully grown men to try to restrain this individual lets you know that something is going on here.
Employees eject the naked man from the gym, but the threat doesn't subside. This man has now been let loose on the unsuspecting streets of Midtown Miami.
This was a really bizarre, scary situation because he went from 0 to 60 out of nowhere, but it's about to get even more bizarre.
The guy in the white shirt can be seen trying to help the homeless man who's being pummeled by this naked individual.
Get the out of here, bro! Get the out of here!
So as he's trying to get him off of the homeless guy, he starts going after him instead. This guy was relentless. He was just like, no way, I'm beating you up, man. You should have never helped this guy.
Out of my mother! Call the police! Call the police!
The scariest part for me was hearing this guy cry out for help. That was intense. He was scared for his life.
Call the police! Call the police!
Like, what can I do in this moment? I know that we called the cops already. I'm getting him on video, so we have evidence of what happened.
Bro, call the cops!
They already did. They did already.
You're shooting assault that guy too. Bro, where's the cop in here?
With 911 called and stunned bystanders awaiting their arrival, the naked man appears to run away. Or does he?
He's coming back.
And all of a sudden, he just started walking back towards us. At that point, my cousin was like, come inside, stay inside.
Jesus, dude, you okay, bro?
So we get inside of the lobby, And I keep filming, and as he's walking by, he's screaming, "My name is Freemason! My name is Freemason!" There was no real rhyme or reason to why he was doing this. He just started screaming, "My name is Freemason. My name is Freemason." He said it like 3 or 4 times, and then he just kind of disappeared into the night.
Though Oscar is seemingly safe, the naked perpetrator continues menacing the streets of Miami. After several minutes, relief finally arrives in the form of the Miami Police Department.
Going up to the cop.
An officer confronts the man, draws his taser, and fires a taser probes into him. Clearly, he didn't get a good connection because it has no effect at all, and the assailant continues to flee from the police. It's really, really escalating.
And then he's beating up a guy in a wheelchair, a defenseless man. This guy's naked. He's unafraid. You don't know what else can happen.
May 2023, Miami, Florida. Several minutes after being ejected from a local gym for stripping off his clothes, a naked man is still loose, causing havoc on the streets.
The guy continues on going down the street. He doesn't care at all. He's violent, so everybody around him, everybody witnessing this has to know he's totally unpredictable.
After numerous people trying to stop this guy, they are finally able to get this nightmare to stop.
Eventually, they're able to get him into custody, get his hands behind his back and handcuff him and take him away from the scene without causing any additional injury.
This naked man was on a rampage, and I'm sure there was a big sigh of relief when he was finally apprehended. If they hadn't stopped him, who knows what violence he might have done on someone.
It's surprising that no one else was hurt. I'm just flabbergasted at how he wasn't hurt because, after all, he was in a very vulnerable position himself.
I'm glad it didn't get any worse. When I knew everything was safe, relief came over me. And that's also when I kind of calmed down, because there was a lot of adrenaline running through me as well, witnessing all of this happening. The guy that lived at the apartment, I felt bad for him. In my opinion, he got the worst of it.
Yo, that's crazy, bro. He just beat some dude's ass.
The weird part was, after it all happened, life just kept going. Putting up the chandelier, people are coming out of the apartment building, they're going about their life, and they have no idea that 10 seconds prior, some naked dude was out here beating people up. And that was just wild to me. How many things do I miss on a daily basis?
After a long week, Southeast Houston resident America Barrera is looking forward to a quiet night alone. Meanwhile, in the backyard, her motion sensor camera is triggered by a surprise visitor.
It's a Saturday night. We see a man jump across a fence into this woman's backyard. We see him scurry across the backyard, and he goes up to a very large window.
It's dark out. He's dressed in a skirt or dress that isn't exactly fitting right. And we see him smash the window.
After this perpetrator breaks the window, he climbs through the shards and makes his way inside the house.
Confronted with the burglar, America screams before running away to call police from a neighbor's.
Her scream scares the guy. But he doesn't leave empty-handed. Before he goes, he grabs a bunch of her clothes, including her underwear, and then runs out the house.
He's wearing a skirt, but then he's largely nude otherwise. It's like, who is this guy? What is he going to do? It just really makes it all the more chilling.
Houston police respond and take America's statement. What she reveals is deeply disturbing.
She tells the arriving officers that this isn't the first time this gentleman has broken into her house.
According to America, the same man broke into her home 2 days earlier. and she has the video to prove it.
We see this same man approach the rear of the house to the same window, this time wearing a bathrobe, breaks the glass and enters the home.
Luckily on this occasion, America was not home, but the man takes full advantage of the empty house.
He stays for a while. He has a beer, he has a little something to eat, takes her shotgun and some clothing, and left a knife in her bed.
There's messaging going on here. Essentially, he's taking away her protection, and he's sending a message that I pose a threat.
Now that this has happened twice with the same perpetrator, you have to wonder, is he obsessed with this woman? Has he been stalking her? Is he watching her at all times?
It becomes apparent to the officers that they may know who this individual is, and he's a local transient, a homeless person who frequents that area.
America interviews with the local news but is too afraid to appear on camera.
He's roaming around. The cops know he's roaming around. I asked, like, well, if I drive around and I find him and I call you, can you arrest him? And they told me no, because the judge has to sign the warrant.
Officers say they think they know who this individual is, and yet he remains at large.
I totally feel for this homeowner. I would not feel safe in this home. As inconvenient as it might be, I would seriously consider moving out of this home. There's no stopping him unless he's finally arrested and is locked up.
Getting woken up in the middle of the night by a prowler is terrifying.
That's sort of saying, I've been here and I don't know if or when I'll be back.
The officer is treating this as a high-risk stop, but I don't think he had any idea what he was getting into when the person exited the vehicle.
Metter, Georgia is a quaint little town, and everybody knows everybody. It's the kind of place where you usually keep your doors unlocked.
We have very little violent crime. There's not much that really goes on. During the week time, we'll go days without getting a single call at night.
But on April Fool's Day 2023, Metter police received several disturbing calls that shatter its residents' sense of security.
The very first call we got was to a residence to an elderly couple that was home asleep and heard a commotion and looked up, and it was a slender black male.
Getting woken up in the middle of the night by a prowler is terrifying. What's going on? How do I deal with this threat?
He made a grunting sound, and then he ran out the door, followed by the homeowner, who chased him out with a shotgun.
After fleeing the first residence, the man hits 4 more houses, and what the security video reveals turns the case from unsettling to truly bizarre.
They reviewed their video camera, and they saw a naked black male with something wrapped around his head.
This is something you don't expect to see in a small town like this. A guy traipsing around yards of homes naked trying to break in.
If somebody's just prowling around my residence, you know, that's one thing. But when they're naked like that, that's very disturbing to me.
Even more disturbing, the nude burglar's MO seems to be more about sending a message to the residents rather than acquiring their belongings.
All he does is pick up little trinkets with every house he goes into. And then he moves those trinkets from one location to another location.
There was a residence where several things were stolen, and then a day later found a trash bag at another residence that he had been at that had the remaining items that he had taken from that house.
That's sort of saying, I've been here, I've gone through here, and I've left here.
Despite boldly exposing some parts of himself, the man makes sure to cover his face, making identification difficult for Metter PD.
It's extremely frustrating when you can't get the facial features to identify somebody. You have to rely on the body type, which most people don't see people in a naked state.
Then, a week later, fears intensify when the burglar in the buff strikes again.
We get another call from a resident. They heard something that awoke them, and they looked at their camera. And in that video camera, they saw a naked black male with something wrapped around his head. And he was loitering and prowling around. Since we had video evidence from the week earlier, when we compared the two, we knew that it was going to be the same person.
This kind of behavior escalates, and he's starting to feel familiar. And the more he gets to know the landscape, who knows who will be next.
In Metter, Georgia, a new burglar has struck 2 Saturdays in a row. Determined to protect their citizens from him, the town's law enforcement sets up a sting.
I figured that we needed to take every precaution we could to try to curb this before it got violent. One of the local car dealerships allowed us to borrow a bunch of cars, and so we put people basically undercover in the homeowners' areas. We sat in driveways and alleyways to try to wait and just sit and detect.
All these assets to try to stop this guy from terrorizing his community. And they never catch him, and it never happens again. But maybe that was the deterrent. The guy very well may have known that there was going to be a big operation to try to catch him, and he could have just thrown in the towel.
It's still an active case. Even today, they're still working on a suspect pool. They're conducting interviews, anything that we can get out of this to try to tie somebody to this crime.
Northeastern Ohio, 3:55 a.m., and the Geauga County Sheriff's Office has a dire threat on its hands. A vehicle traveling at nearly 120 miles per hour.
Officers are drawn to this vehicle who's driving at a very high rate of speed, and they don't stop or slow down when they see the officers.
Going that fast is not only a speeding citation, but it's also driving to endanger. At those speeds, you can't brake properly, you can't maneuver your car, you can't avoid obstacles. So the public, the driver, and the officer are all in danger with these kinds of speeds. Clearly, the driver is not in the right state of mind.
In order to get this driver to stop, officers have to deploy the spike strips. Finally, one of those pops the front tire on the car, and then the driver finally pulls over and then stops.
We're just east of the reservoir, Pennsylvania plate. Could be on a silver Mazda.
Without being told to, the driver starts to get out of the car.
Driver, let me see your hands! Let me see your hands right now!
The officer is treating this as a high-risk stop, but I don't think he had any idea what he was getting into when the person exited the vehicle.
Step out of the vehicle.
The driver gets out, clad only in a see-through tube top and G-string.
Walk back towards my voice. Do it now. Walk back toward me. Walk back towards me. Do it now. Walk back here. Walk back.
It's not every day that you pull over a woman driving 128 miles an hour and she's pretty much naked. There is a shock factor to that, even for a police officer who's seen it all.
Is there anybody else in that car? Is there anyone else in that car? No. Don't move. I'm not moving, okay?
The woman is handcuffed and placed in the back seat of the squad car, but she refuses to get fully inside.
Somebody talk to me right now, please. I'm here, I'm talking. I know I ain't got no license, okay? And I know I'm not right.
At this point, it's clearly evident that this driver is intoxicated, which makes her driving from earlier even more dangerous, even lethal.
Can you talk to me? I will, but you're not listening to me. You're not talking to me. Turn the car. Put your feet in.
Once, though, she's in the back, she goes on to a full-on hissy fit and starts bashing her head against the partition window between the front seat and the back seat, and then kicking at it.
What I'm thinking about, if she's sitting in the back of my car, is what's going to be next from this person? How bad is this going to get?
police transport the belligerent woman to the Geauga County Safety Center. She is identified as Erin Holdsworth and charged with 7 counts, including operating a vehicle while intoxicated and fleeing and eluding authorities. Holdsworth is convicted on 3 of the 7 charges and sentenced to 180 days in jail.
Had the officers not been able to pull this woman over, somebody would have died that night. I commend these police officers for stopping her in her tracks.
Next time on Exposed Naked Crimes.
Hands behind your back.
It's something out of a horror movie. What happened to this guy?
This dude is butt naked.
This could be seriously deadly.
Holy.
Down on the ground now!
She's also naked, which is a whole nother alarming part of this equation.
In almost every police department, there's a place where cold homicide cases gather dust. Each box contains unfinished business, evidence, interviews, in its very own murder book. These cases aren't dead, but sleeping. Each one waiting for new leads and a cop to dig out the truth and finally bring a killer to justice. The North Woods of Michigan, a hunter's paradise. Thick forest, dead quiet, and full of prey. But in November 1985, one wrong step, and the hunters suddenly became the hunted.
On the ground. Come on your knees. Turn around.
It's Robert Bronco Lesneski's first night on the job as a detective with the Michigan State Police. He'd been a desk sergeant for a bunch of years, but got tired of pushing paper, wanted something more hands-on. All right. And right out of the gate, he gets what he asked for.
I'm brand new. The first night, we successfully negotiate the gunman out. From there, I hear of a shooting at a rest area off of I-75 that's happened in my post area. There where some guy was just sleeping in his car. And a young couple robbed him and they shot him first.
It's a 1-2 punch, but it's nothing compared to what Bronco gets hit with the next morning.
Sorry to see you go.
I know. It had to happen.
Detective Sergeant Doug Halleck is moving up to lieutenant, and Bronco's taking over where he left off.
It's all yours, Bronco.
Thank you, Detective. What's this?
It's yours now.
What is it?
It's my biggest regret.
There isn't a cop anywhere in the Midwest who doesn't know the 13-year-old case. 2 hunters, best friends, who disappeared without a trace right before Thanksgiving 1985.
This one seemed to grow a life of its own. It's like a legend throughout the communities, especially during hunting season. I was afraid of it. And I'm inheriting the biggest cold case homicides in northeastern Michigan, you know, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's an awesome responsibility.
Sure you don't want to come? Mm-hmm. You love my uncle's cabin.
Come on, Denise. It's not like we're gonna be out hunting the whole time.
Oh, no thank you. Tempting, but too much testosterone.
It's early morning. David Teal is almost ready to hit the road with his best friend, Brian Ogen, for a weekend hunting trip 3 hours west in White Cloud, Michigan.
We'll be back by dinner Sunday night.
All right, promise?
Yeah.
Good. Let me get a picture of our great hunting crew.
Okay,
Come on, indulge
here we
me.
go.
Thank you. 3, 2, 1.
two grew up in the same town. Since anyone can remember, they've always been known as Mutt and Jeff. David was tall and outgoing, and Brian was small and shy.
They were thick as thieves, those two. They were best buddies, forever and ever.
David's a machinist who works for the family business. He's been married to his wife Denise for 7 years. Brian is a mechanic, owns a home, and has a girlfriend named Janet.
He was very much in love with Janet, and the question is when are they going to get married? He was very excited. She was very excited.
It's the Friday before Thanksgiving. They figure they can get in a boys' weekend before the start of the holiday season.
Yeah, who cares?
Remember last time, huh? Last time we were up
On Sunday night, Denise waits to hear the truck pull into the driveway, but it never comes. In the days before cell phones, all you could do was sit and wait and worry.
Thinking the worst was the only thing you could think of, something had happened to them. But the question is, how do you just disappear?
On Monday, Denise Teal calls the police. The case is assigned to Troy PD officer Phil Steele. Steele's a Vietnam vet who went straight from combat to law enforcement. He doesn't mince words, and he doesn't mess around.
We'd had 13 missing persons prior to this one, and we were able to locate everyone. A lot of the cases usually went back to some type of a domestic dispute. We either located people or they showed up back home.
They said that they'd be back Sunday night.
First thing Steele does is check in with Denise Teal.
Was there any kind of fight, altercation, anything going wrong?
No, not at all. David's not the kind of person to just run away. Neither's Brian. Both of them go to work every day. They don't call in sick. I know that something's wrong.
Our initial reaction is that something happened en route, that they were either disabled, they got lost, or there was an accident.
Steele calls every hospital, police department, and highway patrol office along the 200-mile route between Troy and White Cloud and finds nothing.
Police are asking citizens.
His next move is to go right to the media, asking them to broadcast photos of the men and their missing Ford Bronco. He's hoping their Mutt and Jeff appearance will make them stand out in people's memories.
We knew that there were going to be thousands of hunters, especially for that long Thanksgiving weekend, in the woods, and that would be our best chance for somebody to locate either them or the vehicle.
Police are asking citizens to be on the lookout for 2 hunters who went missing in the White Cloud area last weekend.
Denise and Brian's girlfriend Janet organize a grassroots effort to help find David and Brian.
So I got 1,000 of these printed out.
I want to drive up to White Cloud with these myself.
Well, we'll both do it. We're gonna find them.
Police launch a massive search. They cover every bit of the White Cloud area by air and land. On the ground, Brian and David's families post thousands of flyers. Back in Troy, Officer Phil Steele's media blitz is going gangbusters, generating dozens of leads.
You got any tips?
Yeah, I got a couple saying they're buying Christmas trees in Cadillac.
Someone called saying that they saw him in Vegas shooting craps.
Steele chases down every single one. But a week later, there's still no sign of the missing hunters.
It's very frustrating. Everybody wanted to believe that they would turn up, but it became obvious that there was something seriously going on here.
A week after the men disappeared, Detective Phil Steele goes back to David's wife Denise to see if she has any other ideas of where they may have gone.
I think we might have come up with something.
She tells him a few days before they left, she overheard David and Brian talking about a mutual friend who recently bought a cabin in the small town of Mayo, Michigan, 169 miles north.
I don't know anything about him. I think I met him once. It's Bruce Ridley, so it's his place.
I'll get on the horn with the sheriff up there, and we'll see what we can do.
Mayo is nowhere near White Cloud, but maybe the friends had a change of heart about hunting. Steele asked the local sheriff to send a deputy out to talk to Bruce Ridley.
Looking for a couple friends of yours? David Till and Brian Ojanon. Someone told us they were coming up here a couple weeks ago. Have you heard from them?
No, I haven't heard from them. Are they all right, or do you know what's going on?
We're not sure yet. Figuring things out as we go along. If you can let us know if you get any more information.
Absolutely, I will. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ridley's worried, but can't help. The sheriff's department in Mayo gets the word out about the missing men, and 7 days later, they call Steele with a hot lead.
One of the local residents reported to them that the hunters in their 1980 Ford Bronco were in his driveway that weekend before Thanksgiving.
Hey, mister, can you help us out? We're looking for my buddy's cabin. I think it's around here.
Sure. What's the address?
Don't know, that's the problem. But he gave us this map.
That's a tricky area, son. If I were you, I'd go to a motel, check it in the morning.
Yeah?
Be a lot better off, sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
It's the kind of thing that happens every day. Two guys looking for a friend's place get lost on back roads. To Detective Phil Steele, the lead sounds promising. He turns his attention to the remote town of Mayo, Michigan. Tiny place, only a couple thousand people live there. It's woodsy, surrounded by national forest. Makes it popular during the hunting season. But the locals tend to keep to themselves, especially when the police come knocking on the door. Since the hunters were directed to a local motel, the sheriff's office hits that first.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Have you seen these two men by any chance?
Yeah, they were here just a couple of weekends ago. The weekend before Thanksgiving, I think. Checked in Friday, left Sunday, paid cash.
Now that Steele knows the hunters spent the weekend in Mayo, he starts calling every place in town looking for leads, hoping they might have made a pit stop on their way home.
A barmaid came forward and had indicated that, yes, in fact, those hunters were at the lounge.
You do realize these are $1 a piece, right?
Yes,
Don't try to talk them out of it.
All right, thanks.
And that she remembered them distinctly because of the fact that they kept giving her a $2 tip.
The hunters are also spotted that weekend in two other local bars.
We're shooting,
all right, big guy, let's go. Excuse me, sorry.
Bass.
All right,
but we're done?
Yep, let's go.
Oh, nice
You're good.
meeting you guys.
Yeah. Right out there.
One of the owners remembers Dave leaving behind his red flannel shirt.
Thank you.
Good night, guys. Be careful now.
When Steele tells Brian and David's families about the sightings in Mayo, Denise and Janet head right there.
Those guys were having so much fun. You should have seen him.
Oh, is that your boyfriend, honey?
Yes.
What's wrong?
That's Dave's shirt.
We will find them.
Denise and Janet get to work papering the town with flyers. But they quickly notice people aren't exactly chomping at the bit to help them.
Excuse me? Yeah. We're looking for Brian and David. Have you seen them?
No.
Come over here. Look. Honey, I shouldn't be talking to you guys right now.
Why?
I just serve drinks. I don't get into anybody's personal life. I don't ask any questions. Drinks.
Come on, let's go. This place is giving me the creeps.
No one in Mayo is talking. Not to Denise and Janet, and not to the cops. The only thing Steele knows for sure is that Dave and Brian were in Mayo, looking for a friend they never found, and there's not a trace of them since they checked out of the local motel Sunday morning.
There was nothing on any of the credit cards, on any of the bank accounts. There were no checks that were cashed. So we had no paper trail which would put them in a specific area.
Days turn to weeks. Phil Steele does everything he can think of. He checks with U.S. Customs to see if the hunters crossed the Canadian border. They didn't. He looks at every John Doe in the area and compares David and Brian's dental records. He finds nothing. After 4 months, Steele is forced to admit he may have reached a dead end, and it eats at him.
Mr. Ogen, Brian's father, would call periodically just to ask how we were doing in the case, if we had any more tips. But I always felt bad, extremely bad, that we just didn't have a resolution. We didn't have a closed case. I couldn't tell him what happened to his boy.
Six months after the hunters go missing, Steele hasn't made any progress. He reluctantly turns the case over to the Michigan State Police, hoping they can use their vast resources to help drum up a new lead. For 2 more years, there's still no movement. The unsolved case is putting Michigan on the map, and cops don't like it. So in 1988, the Michigan State Police assigns 2 of their best detectives to shake things up. Veteran investigators Kurt Schramm and Doug Halleck know all about it long before they open the file.
It was always in the newspaper every November when the deer hunting season came. Okay, it's been a year, these people haven't been seen. It's been 2 years, they haven't been seen. It's been 3 years. I just thought people go up north and maybe they had an accident and they died.
But finding human remains in the dense North Woods 3 years after they disappeared would be almost impossible. Instead, Schramm and Halleck put their energy into mounting an organized search for hard evidence that might still be traceable. Like the vehicle they were last seen driving, Dave's 1980 black Bronco.
I was on the Michigan State Police Underwater Recovery Team. We had the dive team in 3, 4, 5 different areas, different lakes, different areas searching. I also flew in helicopters and I flew in small airplanes with local pilots searching for any sighting of the Bronco.
After 12 months, they've covered hundreds of miles, and there's still no trace of the Bronco. Then, out of the blue, a solid new lead comes their way.
Hey, Halleck. An informant says he was in a bar and overheard some guys talking about chopping up and selling the car that the hunters were driving.
Can we talk to him?
Setting it up now. Let's go.
For the first time in 3 years, detectives are about to get a glimpse of the terror behind Mayo's wall of silence.
Thank you for meeting us.
You got it? Who are the ones that said they chopped up the hunter's Bronco?
2 brothers named Duval, JR and Donald. Donald goes by Coco. They were bragging that they got into a fight and kicked the hunters' asses at a bar in Mayo. Guess they got so pissed off they killed him.
They admitted they killed him.
Get this, they took the bodies, fed them to their pigs.
I heard that, I said, no one's gonna do that kind of stuff. I mean, that's kind of like out of a horror movie or something like that.
Wouldn't put anything past them. They're really, really messed up.
The pig part of the story sounds like nothing more than a crazy small-town rumor. But Schramm and Halleck believe there's still some truth to it. And they realize their missing persons case is actually a murder book.
Can you give me everything you got on the entire Duval family in Mayo, specifically JR and Donald? Donald goes by Coco.
They find out there are 7 brothers in all, who along with an assortment of wives, ex-wives, and cousins, share an off-the-grid homestead 20 miles south of Mayo, where they keep livestock. They make their living selling firewood and working part-time at a scrapyard. But they also supplement their income in less legal ways, like poaching and stealing. But no one ever turns them in because in Mayo, the Duvals are known for being the type of guys you don't want to mess with, ever.
Hey, you know you're not supposed to be talking to her, right?
I really didn't mean it, man. Come on, I swear, I didn't mean it.
Kick his ass, Adam. Get him.
It was known the Duvall brothers loved to fight, but if somebody caused a ruckus in a bar or somebody wanted to, as I call, mix it up in the bar, they'll be ready to go. They didn't fight fair. They didn't fight one-on-one.
Here, let me get a shot.
You fought two or however many brothers was around you, you fought them all.
And none of the locals are shy about telling Schramm and Halleck just how crazy the Duvals can be. But the minute the detectives ask about Duvall's involvement in the hunter's disappearance, everyone clams up. The brothers seem to have the entire community terrified. So detectives have to find another way to break the code of silence.
We started working on their friends from the outside going in and trying to put pressure on these individuals. We were hoping that we could flip them and have them provide us information.
When they learned that Coco's former live-in girlfriend broke up with him around the time the hunters went missing, they track her down.
Thank you for meeting me.
This is off the record, right? He was really abusive with me, and I don't even want to think about what would happen if he found out I told the cops.
You're gonna be safe.
I'm going to be safe. Can you please tell me how exactly it is that I'm going to be safe?
I have the entire state of Michigan behind me, ready to protect you. Did he ever mention mixing it up with some hunters? Or stealing a Bronco?
A black Bronco?
Yeah.
Yeah, they drove around a black Bronco. It was a lot nicer than the junk they used to drive, and he parked it out in front of the house. JR got all upset and said that he needed to get rid of it before they all got caught.
She says she remembers seeing Coco with the Bronco just before the holidays a few years ago.
Did he say where he got it from?
A couple guys down south.
The missing hunters?
Hey, look, if I tell you something about these hunters, if I even know anything about these hunters, is this aiding and abetting? Am I going to go to jail?
No. No, we're just talking.
But suddenly, the interview's over. It's obvious Susan, like everyone else, is living in fear of the Duvals. And no matter what Schramm says to get her to open up, she won't budge. Detectives lean on other people who spend time with the Duvals. No one mentions the Bronco again. They widen their search, and they start hearing the same bizarre rumor about the pigs.
And the first time I heard it, you kind of dismiss it that they were killed and fed to the pigs. Then I heard it from a second person. Then I heard it from a third. But these are all different people, and some of them don't even know each other. Then I started hearing it from a fourth, and it was like, man, maybe there is something to it. It's kind of hard to imagine something like that. If that's what, in fact, really did happen, what a horrible, horrible way to go.
When Kurt Schramm shares his findings with his partner, Doug Halleck's got some new information of his own. After talking to one of JR's former girlfriends, he learned about a wild party at the Duvals a few years before.
Everybody's drinking, and they'd been partying maybe for multiple days. But they run out of food.
Nothing. Coco, let's go.
Shoots a cow. Gets a chainsaw out of the back of the truck, and then takes the chainsaw and quarters up this cow.
All right, gang. Who's gonna cook it?
Well, that gets people's attention when they know somebody that would do something like this. I think that's part of the reason why they feared the Duvalls.
Come on, open it up, open it up. Who's got beer for us?
They may do the same thing to a human being, so they just stayed out of their way.
Got it. Susan.
Detectives have suspects, rumors, and hearsay. But still not a single piece of hard evidence that the Duvalls killed Dave and Brian. The investigation begins to stall, and it remains in limbo for almost 3 years. Then, Kenny Duval, one of JR and Coco's younger brothers, is in the county jail awaiting trial for beating his wife. He's heard new detectives are asking questions about the missing hunters, and he's willing to sing like a bird for the right price.
All right, Kenny. What do you want to tell us?
I can help you guys, but I want to walk.
Looks like the Duval brothers aren't so tight after all.
I hear you need some information on those hunters.
That's right.
Well, about the time they went missing, I got a call from JR. Said that they needed some help. So I dropped everything and I drove up.
When he got there, his brothers were chopping up a black Ford Bronco.
What do you guys want?
Nice of you to show up, Kenny.
Hey, where the hell did y'all get this?
Can the attitude. Help him strip this thing down.
Where did they get it? He said it was the spoils of war.
Now that Kenny and Susan have put JR and Coco driving the hunter's Bronco, Schramm and Halleck are a heartbeat away from rooting out the evil at the center of this small, terrified town. But back at the office, the county prosecutor tells them that without the bodies, an eyewitness to the murders, or a single shred of physical evidence, the case is going nowhere.
He says, we could ask for indictments, we could get arrest warrants, but he says, I'm not sure if you have enough for a conviction. And we thought about it, and we thought, there's no sense taking a chance, because if we go to trial, we lose it, they're off scot-free.
The investigation stalls, and the case goes cold again. And no one involved is happy.
It was very, very tough on me, watching what the families go through. These people, they needed some closure.
You have someone who's very, very dear to you, and they're gone, and there's no reason. So it was a very frustrating thing. There was just a huge void out there.
For 2 more years, Schramm and Halleck looked for ways to nail the Duval brothers. Then in 1995, Schramm is promoted out of the department. Halleck stays behind and never gives up on the case.
I've continued to dig over the years and dig and dig and dig. It would weigh on me both at home and at work and wanting to try new things. There were tips that came in. Maybe this will lead me somewhere, so I would jump right on them, give it everything I had, but just didn't quite get me there.
We're sorry to see you go.
I know. It had to happen sometime.
In 1998, Halleck is transferred to a new post in a different part of the state.
It's all yours, Bronco.
Thank you, Detective.
Before he leaves, he personally hands off the Teal Ogen murder book to brand new detective Robert Bronco Lesneski.
I'd given it everything I had, but it needed another professional, another interviewer, another voice in here, a new set of eyes, so to speak, and I just felt confident he's the guy to do it.
It wasn't necessarily a whodunit in terms of who we thought the suspects were, because everybody kind of talked about it, everybody kind of knew who we thought was responsible for it. It was just trying to prove it.
Every cop who's worked this case has sensed there are people in this town who know what happened, maybe even some who saw it. But even 13 years after the hunters went missing, the Duvalls, now middle-aged, still have everyone in town living in fear.
The Duval brothers were getting kind of cocky, and I think they kind of felt like this case had gone on for so long. Cops are too stupid. They aren't going to figure this out. Everybody knows if you don't have some physical evidence, it ain't going to happen.
But Bronco believes that eventually someone's conscience will get the better of them. He just has to be there when it happens. So when he finds out Coco's ex-girlfriend, Susan Williams, has moved 1,000 miles away to Texas, he thinks now she might have more to say.
Afternoon, ma'am. I'm Detective Lesneski. Understand you used to date one of the Duvall brothers.
That's something I'm not proud of.
I saw the domestic abuse reports. It looks like he put you through a lot.
Come in.
Although Bronco's a rookie detective, he's a veteran when it comes to dealing with victims of domestic abuse.
I'm investigating the disappearance of 2 hunters, and I have reason to believe that the Duvall brothers are responsible. I'd like to put them away for good.
You and me both.
No one will ever know we had this conversation. It's just you and me here. And I'm not in a hurry.
Well, there is something.
Susan can't forget the night JR brought a very drunk Coco home.
Hey, what's going on?
He's all yours. Careful, he's been puking the whole way here.
Can you please not puke on my bed again?
Susan gets him into bed and he's crying.
Hey, it's okay. What happened? What happened? Coco?
We killed them.
Susan had no idea what he was talking about and waited till the next day when he was sober to ask him.
Hey.
Hey.
So what happened last night?
What are you talking about?
You came over last night crying about these 2 hunters.
Shut up.
You didn't hear that.
And he starts beating on her. He's got her down. He's strangling her. He's trying to suffocate her. And he's screaming at her, you know. You keep your mouth shut. Don't you ever repeat that.
Legally, it's still more hearsay. So Bronco's only hope is to find an eyewitness to the murders. Then finally, 7 months into his investigation, a break.
I get a phone call from a tipster who claims her friend had firsthand independent knowledge of the missing hunters and what had happened to them, how they met their demise.
The woman is a Mayo resident. Her name is Barb Clement. So as not to raise suspicion in the area, he goes to her home dressed in plain clothes.
Hi there.
Hi, can I help you?
I'm looking for Barb Clement.
What do you need her for?
I'm Robert Lesneski with the Michigan State Police Department. I'm investigating an old missing persons case.
You're going to get me killed.
Hold on.
Stuck my foot in the door, and I'm telling you, I've never done that before. And I said, no one knows I'm the police. I'm dressed like this. I'm unmarked car. I could be an insurance salesman.
Ma'am, there's a $100,000 reward.
Yes, well, I wouldn't live to spend it. Please.
You knit? My grandmother used to knit. You mind if I come in? Just a minute.
Just 1 minute, okay?
Bronco works the charm offensive, but he's careful. If this really is someone with a first-hand account of the murders, he can't blow it.
You're Barb Clement.
Clement's my maiden name. I'm Barb Boudreaux now. How did you find me?
A friend.
Who?
I'm like a vault. Information comes in, and it doesn't come out. You can trust me.
I said, listen, Barb, I'm not going to put you in any danger. I'm not going to do that to you. I really need your help. You know, would you please help me? You know, think about the families of these 2 boys. They didn't deserve to be killed.
I'll talk to you.
She says to me, listen, I'll talk to you, but I can't talk to you here. You gotta go.
Please.
People like you just don't show up at my door.
Barb asks Bronco to meet her at her friend's house a few days later.
Detective, I feel like I might have misled you by asking you to meet me here.
She said, well, listen, I do have some information. I do know a little bit about it. I wasn't there, but my friend was. He's dead now. She would say to me things like, Bronco, I'll never tell you everything. I will never tell you everything. It's just too dangerous. It isn't going to happen.
Okay.
And so I've got this information. I know there's more information to get out there. I'm desperate for it. I'm hungry for it. But I also recognize I can't force her to do anything because she was a very independent, strong-headed woman. So I knew I had to establish some kind of a trust and relationship with her.
I know him.
Bronco knows he has to bide his time. Let Barb stay in the driver's seat for this one and wait for the story to come out when she's ready. And it's killing him.
You're talking to a guy who doesn't like to leave things unsettled, But I also recognize if I push her too hard, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. End of story.
So Bronco takes his time to do it right. Every week or so, he makes the 35-minute drive from the state police station to Mayo to check in with her. And little by little, he learns all about Barb. In her younger days, she was a party girl, heavily into drinking. She knew the Duvals well, even hung out with them for a time. But those days are long gone. Now 53 years old, she passes the time tending to her garden and crocheting.
These look like the ones my grandma used to make.
They're called granny squares. They're really easy to do. I could teach you. Let's go sit down over there. It's really nice.
Okay.
They talk about the weather. They talk about Barb's garden. They talk about her cat. Everything but the case.
I love how the sky looks, though, when the clouds come in like this. I should cut you some to take home.
Oh, I could take a couple home to the wife.
She'll love that.
And how's Mr. Snuggles doing?
Bronco's a patient guy. For 3 long years, he digs and chats and chats and digs, betting that his patience will pay off.
Finally, one day, out of the clear blue, she tells me about what happened that night.
Those 2 hunters who were at the bar, Charlotte's place, they were playing pool with JR and Coco.
Ooh, poor break.
And then they started arguing about something that certainly didn't seem important.
Why don't you flatlanders crawl back in the hole you came out of?
You don't like our money? Honey, you like our money? A little bit better than these 25-cent tippers?
Keep it up, boy. You'll get messed up worse than you've ever been messed up.
All right, we don't want any trouble, okay? Just take it easy.
Barb said one of them gets up, makes a phone call, for backup, some more people arrive.
Why don't you two head on home?
Come on, go. Come on, let's go.
You didn't see nothing, you don't know nothing.
Everyone knows when you get them together, you leave. They're cruel men when they're together.
Hey, boys, I think we got off on the wrong foot. Want to join us for a party? Come on.
What are you guys doing?
Come on. Have a good time. Come on. Come on.
Brian, don't say anything. Just be cool, man.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it. I'm going to get it. This is going to be it. After all of this, I'm going to finally get it,
My friend Ronnie and I, we went back to my house just to watch a movie, and we started hearing this sound. You heard that, right?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna go out and take a look.
Don't let anybody see you.
All right, I'm gonna go out back.
She said, Ronnie Emery comes back. She said, they're killing him. They're killing him. They're beating him to death.
He tells her it's the Duvals, and they're attacking the hunters in the nearby clearing.
Yes, JR. He's here. What are we gonna do?
Calm down. We don't know anything, okay? Relax. Listen, bitch. You didn't see nothing. You don't know nothing.
And there's something else. Barb says JR was driving someone else's vehicle that night.
Remember what kind?
Like, Bronco, I think it was.
What color?
Black. Definitely black.
That puts JR in the driver's seat of the hunter's missing Bronco. Barb's story is incriminating, but she never saw the attack herself, so it's still just a second-hand account. And she tells Bronco there's no way he's going to be able to talk to her friend Ronnie. He died in a car accident 7 years ago.
She's telling the story through the eyes of a guy that's dead. It's hearsay information.
Lesneski urges Barb to do the right thing and tell her story to the Attorney General. It's not enough to put the brothers behind bars. Only an eyewitness can do that.
Thank you.
But there's no question it will help build the case against the Duval brothers.
Okay, Barb. You realize that you are now under oath. You must tell the truth. If you lie to us, you can be charged with perjury.
Okay.
Tell us what happened the night of November 24th, 1985.
So she starts telling the story a little bit, and finally she says, would you shut the tape off, please?
What's the matter?
I wasn't completely honest when I told you what happened. I was there.
What?
I saw everything. Where are you going?
I'm gonna go out and take a look.
Okay, I'm coming with you.
No, we're sorry! We're sorry!
Be quiet. If they see us, we're as good as dead, too.
No!
Where do you think you're going?
No! Brian! No, we're sorry! We're sorry!
Welcome to Duval country!
They were smashing them with bats. You could hear their heads being crushed.
Right now, I could fall out of the chair. The Attorney General's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, oh my gosh. I was shocked. To lose somebody under circumstances like that, it's unthinkable. It's the kind of stuff you have nightmares over.
Barb's courage has now given police exactly what they've been hoping to find for close to 2 decades. 1 month later, JR and Coco Duval are arrested for the murders of David Teal and Brian Ogin. Their reign of terror is finally over.
I got in the car and got down the road a ways and pulled over, and I cried. You know? It's like it was, people can say what they want, you know. I'm not embarrassed by it. It is who I am, but it just drains you. You know, it just drains you.
JR he's where he belongs. He caused a lot of people a lot of heartache, and he did horrible things. He belongs behind bars, him and his brother both. They did things the normal person wouldn't think of doing. And they're just where they belong.
My heart has always gone out to the Tills and the Ogiens on this. It has been very difficult on an emotional standpoint about what happened to their family. I wish that we could have brought their bodies home to be able to have that final closure.
All right! Woo! Let the games begin! It's about time, man. I've been waiting for this.
It's a justice. When you think about the lives that were changed by all this, we got answers, we got everything. Now we have to move forward for whatever's left.
Sheriff Duvall is a murderer. And Coco Duvall is a murderer.
Shut up.
Robert Lazinski is my hero. A true professional, an excellent investigator. I cannot thank him enough for all the work that he did.
It's an unbelievable story. It's true.